Today, we're diving into Robert Anton Wilson's seriously mind-bending work, Prometheus Rising. Think of it as a user's guide to your own brain, one that lays out this really wild and, pretty controversial model for how we actually build our own reality.
So the book kicks off with this massive, provocative question. Who is programming your reality? See, Wilson's whole idea is that what we call reality isn't some objective thing out there. It's a program, and most of us, we have absolutely no idea who wrote the code.
Okay, so how does this programming actually work? Wilson says it's basically an inside job, a kind of internal con game happening between two parts of our mind, the thinker and the prover. Now, this model is so simple, but wow, it's deep. The thinker, that's your brain's idea generator. It can come up with literally anything, from conspiracy theories to scientific breakthroughs. But the prover, that's its loyal servant. Its only job is to go out and find evidence to prove the thinker's right, filtering your entire world to make it happen. And this all boils down to Wilson's big rule. Whatever the thinker thinks, the prover will prove. Think about that. It means our brains aren't really wired for truth. They're wired for confirmation. The prover will bend, twist, and cherry-pick everything we see and hear just to make sure the thinker's original idea feels correct. And before you think, oh, that's just how biased people are, Wilson says, hold on. This applies to everyone, even the most brilliant scientists. He loves using Thomas Edison as an example. Edison's thinker was so committed to his own DC power system that his prover worked overtime to insist AC power was this dangerous, unsafe thing long after the evidence showed it wasn't. So if the thinker and prover are running the show, what's fueling them? Well, Wilson argues it's our brain's default programming, which he breaks down into 4 antique circuits, or as he likes to call them, the brain's 4 robots.
All this programming creates what Wilson famously called the reality tunnel. What he means is, none of us are experiencing objective reality. Nope. We're each living in our own unique, personalized universe that's been built by our beliefs. And that tunnel is constructed by these 4 core circuits, which get stamped into us really early in life.
So these reality tunnels, they're built on a foundation of 4 main circuits. Wilson calls them the biosurvival, the emotional territorial, the semantic, and the socio-sexual circuits. Let's break those down real quick.
First up, you've got the biosurvival robot. This gets imprinted on us when we're just infants. It's our most primitive program. Its entire world is just black and white, safe versus threatening. It moves towards what feels good and secure, and it just automatically backs away from anything that seems dangerous. This is where our deepest anxieties come from.
Next comes the emotional territorial robot. This gets locked in when we're toddlers, and it's all about power, status, and dominance. It's running all those ego games, the pecking order struggles. It's constantly asking, who's the top dog here? Am I on top or on the bottom? This circuit is behind all that.
So you take those first 2 circuits, and what do you get? Wilson uses this grid to show how they kind of mash up into 4 basic life scripts. You've got the confident leader, the agreeable follower, the resentful rebel, and the overpowering tyrant. Based on your gut feelings about safety and status, which one of those feels a little too familiar?
The third robot is the semantic robot. This is our inner logic machine, our inner storyteller. This circuit is all about language and symbols. It doesn't see the world directly. Instead, it builds the map of reality that we use to get around. All the labels, all the stories, all the beliefs that make up human culture.
And finally, there's the socio-sexual robot, which gets imprinted on us at puberty. Now this one handles our mating programs, sure, but it also locks in our tribe's definition of what's moral and immoral. This is the circuit that really solidifies our adult social role and cements the rigid rules of our culture.
So, if we're all just running on these 4 old antique circuits, are we just stuck? Is that it? Are we trapped? Well, according to Wilson, the answer is a huge definitive no. The whole point is to evolve from being the robot into becoming the meta-programmer of your own brain.
Wilson was a big fan of neuroscientist Dr. John Lilly, whose work captured this idea perfectly. In the province of the mind, there are no limits. In other words, our programming isn't a life sentence. The operating system can be changed. You can rewrite the code.
So how do we break free? by learning the skill of metaprogramming. This is the ability to consciously step back, observe your own mental programs, your circuits, and then intentionally rewrite them. It's the difference between just living in the reality tunnel you were handed by accident and consciously designing your own.
So how do we actually do this? Well, Wilson says just like we have those 4 antique circuits, we have the potential to activate 4 futuristic ones. These are the tools for metaprogramming. For instance, there's a neurosomatic circuit for experiencing bliss and a neurogenetic circuit for tapping into collective memory. Activating these higher states is what makes real self-programming possible.
The book is packed with exercises to practice this. You can try this one. Just visualize an omniscient computer in your mind. You can ask it to show you the world from somebody else's reality tunnel, which is a great way to build empathy. Or you can just feed it new instructions for yourself, a direct command like, "My mind abounds with beauty and power." The whole point is to start consciously directing your own thinker instead of letting it just run on autopilot.
And this brings us to the book's ultimate, really inspiring message. It's a call to action. A call to stop crouching and start unleashing the giant that's waiting inside.
This is maybe the most famous quote from the whole book, and it just nails the human condition as Wilson sees it. We are all giants, raised by pygmies, who have learned to walk with a perpetual mental crouch. He's saying our outdated programming keeps us playing small.
Prometheus Rising is way more than just a weird model of the mind. It's basically a manifesto for your personal evolution. The message is crystal clear. We are not doomed to be robots. We can get beyond our accidental imprints, take control of the keyboard, and finally unleash our total brain power.
So in the end, the book leaves us with this direct, powerful, and empowering challenge. It turns that opening question right back on us. If you are the programmer, if you have the power to create your own reality tunnel, what reality will you choose to create?